Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, covering Ipswich Town since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you are tuned into the flagship show, available every week on video and audio. And unlike Paul Cook and Stephen Robinson, to that matter, who rotated, made lots of changes, gave lots of debuts on Saturday, we're going with the ever-presents, the ever-dependables. David Diamond, what is this? This is season number 7 for you, and Craig Finbow. Season number 2, 3? What are we talking? But hello to Craig and Dave. Hello. We'll start with Craig. Right. This is season number 2? Season number 3?
Yeah, 2 is it? I was brought in mid-season, wasn't I? Just for the transfer window.
January signing. Yeah.
Years ago, yeah.
Dave,
all right. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, good to see you back. And Dave, you've been back before, obviously, Craig, in the pre-season. But this is what counts. This is the real quiz. And Dave, your 7th season with Blue Monday, properly.
Still what? I'd have thought I've got a 3 years away from a testimonial, so I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait for that. But yeah, good to be back at such an exciting point in our history, I would say.
Yeah. Is this the most optimistic? I mean, prior to a ball being kicked, obviously. Now it's real. I was about to swear there.
Probably the most optimistic I've been since 80-81. There you go. I'm throwing it out there.
Quote. I'd have clicked that. So what we talking about?
Need to put that into context. Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
But
Relatively speaking, from where from comparison to last season. I need to watch last season's opener, where we kind of we won, but but we'll see. But we've got plenty to talk about after the 2-2 draw with Morecambe on Saturday, and we'll jump straight into the news, shall we? And welcome back to the bumper. So let's talk news. Love those. So at this point, it's probably as the host of the pre-match show, which I hope folk enjoyed, and we will improve and continue to to find our feet with that show. We did caveat it pretty early doors to say this was a pre-record, and it went. We pre-recorded Thursday for logistical reasons. We'll try and do them more live, and more on that later. And obviously, as soon as we've kind of had that one in the bag and I'd got it ready to upload and to publish it, and it said, there's been no transfer business, and where are the squad numbers? Of course I tempted fate, but probably for good reasons, and lots of business guys going on. I'll give you these are kind of as bullet points, and we'll kind of take them how you see fit. So I think in chronological order, we heard that Lewis Coulson at Borough, the left back who we've been linked with for basically the whole of the summer, he hasn't been allocated a squad number at Borough, and 2 + 2 in this one probably does equal 4, because heavily linked, as I said, and it sounds like that deal should cross the line early next week, which is good news. And then another loan signing, which kind of came out of the blue a little bit. Certainly Friday morning there was whispers, and then more kind of Midlandsy-based journalists started to talk about Louis Barry joining on loan, and that was then announced in the afternoon. And suddenly also during Friday, whispers picked up and then were corroborated with scarf being held aloft by Shoni Aluko, who joins on a 1-year deal. People probably know him best from his spell at Fulham and Reading, a kind of winger and a striker, joins on a 1-year deal, having spent most of pre-season at Derby, who were a little bit crackpot. Let's start with those 3 bits of business, because there's some rumours and other bits yet to be completed, but those all sound like, apart from Coulson, basically done. Let's start with Louis Barry, because that's the one that's exciting me the most. Does that excite you, Craig?
As you say, it came completely out the blue. And I obviously heard of him. Was it last year when he scored the FA Cup goal against Klopp, when Villa were completely decimated, weren't they? They had literally nobody to choose, and they put their kids out, and he was the one that sort of ran half the length of the pitch and slotted home, albeit they lost. And that's sort of all I remembered him from. So did a bit of Googling, and obviously the Villa fans on Twitter were all over it, weren't they? Basically, all of a sudden, Ipswich Town's going to be their second team for the remainder of this League One season because, look after him, he's a jewel, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, let's see how the hell he gets fit into this this team, which is now full of strikers stroke wingers.
And Dave, the addition of Aluko kind of corroborates that point, doesn't it? I mean, there is an abundance.
I think just going back to Barry. I mean, what a pedigree! I mean, I believe I haven't checked this. He was perhaps the first or one of the only English players to be taken on by the Barcelona academy. For goodness' sake, the famous La Masia, isn't it? Something like that. So a pedigree, and certainly again, as Craig said, listening or watching the sort of Villa Twitter feed, etc. It's almost they see him as a second coming of Grealish, for Christ's sake, so obviously big hype there, but no, that's only a win-win, I think, for both, hopefully, Sonny Aluko was funny. I played golf badly Friday afternoon. It was very windy in my defence, and it was it's just how it's been. So obviously phone pretty much away whilst playing golf. Came on, we signed another player. Good God, it's Sonny Aluko. I mean, it just sums up the close season. Good pedigree. Struggled, I think, a few years back, which really held him back. Because apparently that move he had was something like reportedly like 7 million plus, wasn't it? I mean, huge fee. Then I think he struggled with injuries, whether knee or hamstring, Achilles or something like that, quite badly. So I didn't realise he played a fair few games. I think, for Reading last season. I think he played a reasonable. I think it was Reading last season, a reasonable amount of games, and. Was he Reading last season?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, was he still?
I think China so. As well, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, and China as well. So again, a 1 year, a 1 year punt for an experienced player, and an experienced player, championship top level. Again, I see that as a decent punt, really. Surprisingly, it was another forward player, perhaps, but there you go. Strength and depth.
And it sounds like he'll play on Tuesday along with Barry. Paul Cook was talking about that post-match yesterday, so we shall see. And we'll talk about Matt Penny in more detail along with the Morecambe game. But Coulson, long-term pursuit there, Craig. But definitely, if Ken Knock is now part of the bomb squad fully, and there's no way back for him, then we definitely need a left back, don't we?
We definitely need to cover all along the back four, don't we? But yeah, no, certainly left back. As you say, we'll talk about Penny later on, but from what I've seen of Coulson again through YouTubes and bits and pieces, he does look more of an equivalent of KVY on the left. He has got good pace about him, I think. So the sooner we can get him in, the better. Obviously, we've been hampered by situations up in Borough and Warnock not being able to get cover because their existing left backs out injured, etc. So obviously, we've needed to wait a little while, but there's nothing to suggest it's not him that's going to be signed. Phil TWTD said it's going to happen pretty much tomorrow, I believe, or today if you're listening on Monday. Just need to get some cover. We just need to get some sort of understandings, maybe some partnerships sorted on both sides of the pitch, just to get a bit of cohesiveness.
Yes, cohesive is the word. We use the word. We nicked Harry's convertible bonds on Friday on the free match show. And then these two bits of business that are TBC. And this was supposedly close on Friday as well, but more news coming out over the weekend. I think Danny Cowley confirmed a bid accepted by them for Jacobs, a winger. Again, more experience, but where do the likes of Dobra fit in and others? And Flynn Downs linked with an exit. He's been a full-time member of the bomb squad. Unlike Caden Jackson, hasn't really been given a look to get anywhere near the first team, so that's no surprise. But hopefully a decent fee there, and a reunion with Matt Gill. Dave, he's had a word there.
Yeah, I think the difference there is obviously Downs. I think perhaps had his head turned by the Palace bid at the beginning of last season, so I don't think his head's really been in the game totally since then, really. And he's clearly, come back pre-season. Obviously, overtures. He's made it clear that he wants to leave. Where, to be fair, Jackson may well. If you don't know this, Jackson looks like he's perhaps got his head down in training and earned a reprieve to the biggest squad, as it were. Downs is clearly going to go. Jacobs is an interesting one because that's been sort of bubbling about and simmering up most of the summer, hasn't it, for the last couple of months, I would say, when it was first mentioned. So yeah, I mean that looks like it's going to happen. And Coulson, do you know what? I thought Penny actually did okay yesterday. Sort of going forward, he looked fairly decent.
Got better as the game went on, didn't
he? He did. Reminded me, shoot me down. I mean, reminded me of Cresswell at times, perhaps because he's that sort of bit nippy and that. The overall quality, let's put that into context.
For those of you who are listening, not watching on YouTube, there were grimaces by Craig.
Yeah, diminutive. So going forward, let's say.
Okay.
Look, I don't think Cresswell, time with us, certainly early days, was the best defender. No way was he. So reminded me a bit of him. Yeah, but no, it wouldn't surprise me if this Coulson deal, surprise me if this Coulson deal will get done, and he'll find himself number 2, and poor Miles Kenlock will find himself even further down the that's not going to happen either, but potentially. I mean, we'll get onto this, but clearly I think an experienced central defender is a key probably now, and maybe more than one.
There's a narrative that's forming there, isn't there, helpfully, thanks to Taito Enciala.
I honestly thought, in fairness to Penny, he, as the game went on, I thought he did okay, actually. Yeah. Okay, one, we'll get onto that as well. One perhaps weak pass aside, I thought he did okay, really. A lot better than he was against Millwall, for goodness sake.
And Craig, Flynn Downs has got the ability there. I think a lot of, we need to be careful not to put too much emphasis into some very specific and what's the word I'm looking for? Very critical opinions of Flynn Downs on Ipswich Town Twitter and message boards. Flynn Downs is a top quality footballer and will do a job at championship level. And that if we get $500,000 to $1 million for him, I think there's no real rumours about that fee. But we're not going to get what we got offered last season. Let's be honest. But if we get at least $500,000 for him, and with big add-ons, it's kind of one of those ones where best for everyone that we move on, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly that, isn't it? It's best for all parties. He's not going to get a gig here, is he? For reasons we've just spoken about. So, as you say, if we can get just under what we got for Dazelle, it'd be interesting to see how they both get on now, wouldn't it? It'd be interesting to see if the Swansea QPR game's on telly at all. If once Flynn goes clattering through the back of Dazelle in central midfield, yeah, or vice versa. It'd just be nice to we all sort of. When he had that good season, and we thought, right, this is it. He's going to kick on now. He's going to lead us back up from League One into the Championship again, and it never ever really took off, did it? It would just be nice to see him in a relatively stable, what might be mid-table, I suppose, Championship team. Just see how he gets on at that level. Really, it'd be interesting to see.
Will, as a player, you'd want a committed Flynn Downs, crikey, around our squad now. Of course you would. He's a quality player, but I think as you said, that perhaps that Palace thing obviously turned his head. He had a great seasons before last, and then last season he had injuries. He had the sending off, didn't he? Suspension and injuries and stuff. And last season, wasn't it? Just typical of the season, really.
Yeah. I think all best to move on, as we say.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last bit of news that we kind of mentioned and talked about in the pre-match show, and then helpfully arrived 24 hours after we recorded. Squad numbers came out, and two big stories, I guess. One, again, leading on from debates that Seb and I had on Friday about Danassian got number 44. That just the mind boggles on that
outlier there, wasn't he? Somewhat.
But I think probably the one that got most people talking, guys, was Ed Sheeran.
Thomas Holy, number 1.
That's it. Yeah. It was Ed Sheeran's number 17. He gets a place not only in the squad numbers, but it sounds like on the team photo shoot. And you never know, he might make an appearance in the EFL trophy or something like that as well.
And I'm not funny. Probably a gazillion more shirts sold.
And herein lies the argument for it, right, Dave? Because a lot of people obviously accusing the club of being a little bit tin pot. I don't mind it really. I'm not going to think twice about looking at the back of the program and going, "Oh, Ed Sheeran, that's a bit crap," or care what other supporters have to say about it. But Joe posted a screenshot of the Club Shop website kind of Friday evening, and there was a queue to get on to buy stuff. So job done as far as the club are concerned, really.
Anything that raises the club profile, and let's face it, it's been raised globally by having him involved, can only be a good thing, can't it?
Yep. And Craig...
good timing that you've already sold all the Ed Sheeran shirts to Southeast Asia and America without his name on the back. Now those poor stores have got to go back and get the ones with his name and his number on the back. So if you're a big, I said before, if you're a big Wes Burns fan, get in quick because they'll be running out of number 7s pretty shortly. Once they get their new stock in, for God's sake, get your Wes Burns 7 in right now.
Or Thomas Holy, yeah.
So I see no problem with it. Obviously, a lot of people have raised concerns, but
the thing, as you say, Rich, and as Mark Ashton said in both the Q&A thing and the EGM thing that I went to, it's all about turnover. We can only spend what we bring in, and if this is bringing in more money, it's there for one reason. It's there for one reason. We're not there doing it just because we like Ed Sheeran, he's a good guy. We're doing it for the bottom line and margins and turnover, so we can therefore afford another winger stroke centre forward.
Yeah, exactly right. Bigger picture on this one, but I'd find it amusing if we found a way to get him on as a sub at some point, But
I hope so. In that sort of last Pepper John's Trophy game against, was it West Ham reserves or something, when we're clearly not going to qualify.
Can he do it on a
cameo?
Cold Tuesday night? Colchester reserves or something.
To be fair to him, they're the games he's been going to as well. The EFL Trophy.
Yeah, I've seen him there.
They're the ones he's been sitting in his box watching. To be fair to the guy, so why not?
I think what we're all after as well is a squad number for. I'll start the campaign right now for Omar Jalili, who turns out has moved into the area and is now attending Portman Road as well. He tweeted a video of one of the chances towards the end of the game yesterday. So if there's one for Ed, I'm sure let's have a celebrity 11. That's what we want. We've alluded and mentioned Morecambe enough. Let's move on to Saturday's match action. And I guess headlines here, guys. No surprises. Were 8 debuts for Paul Cook's Ipswich. We'll have a look at the lineups in a second, and 6 for our visitors, Morecambe, including one in the dugout. New manager after Derek Adams' departure in the summer. Stephen Robertson took his seat, or he stood for most of the game, didn't he? In the dugout for Morecambe. Let's have a look at the team very quickly, and no real surprises here. Connor Chaplin and Scott Fraser, perhaps we would have perhaps anticipated them to be the other way around, but we've talked about the lack of options at centre back. No real choices or headaches for Paul Cook there. Anything there, guys, that sticks out?
Just as you said, mate, I'd have had Fraser and Chaplin the other way around. But we've been told that Fraser's one of the best midfielders, one of the best number 10s in League One, and Chaplin played left wing, if not right wing, for Barnsley, as well as playing a little bit up front. So, I was a bit surprised they didn't actually swap at all during the game. I thought, maybe they'll start off like that, and then maybe during the course of the game they'll spend 20 minutes swapping positions and stuff. But they didn't. They were very much stuck to those positions all match.
Ironically, they probably swapped positions once.
Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah, find out in a minute.
The one time, and a few points to note on Morecambe. Shane McLaughlin, you can see there, made his debut ex Ipswich, alongside Diagaraga, who we know very well as well. And if you're looking for an advert for the pre-match show, you can rewind and hear me single out Cole Stockton as the player to watch for Morecambe, but more on him shortly. In terms of pre-match, guys, I mean, we need to address this point as well. First, a visit to Portman Road for all of us. I don't think unlike Joe, did you get to any of the kind of games middle of last season before lockdowns?
I went to Portsmouth.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
How was did you do one as well? Great.
Yeah, I did the other one.
How was the experience different? Did it feel complete? I mean, for me yesterday, apart from a little bit more of a queue.
Normal match day experience, other than the queue yesterday. Normal match day experience. I remember going to the Portsmouth game, which was December, wasn't it? Mid-December, like second week in December. And it was cold, so I had my mask and I had a golf-like thing on, snoo type thing I wear for golf. And just sitting there, got there obviously 3/4 an hour early as you had to. It was ridiculous. With 2,000 or how many fans were there. Sat in the stand, and I think my phone rang. So I went answered my phone, and obviously mask was off, took a snood, and immediately a steward came up and made me cover up immediately.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, within like a minute. Of Christ's sake, which, you know, fair enough. Yesterday, obviously, normal match day experience with bloody hell a few more people there. Obviously, for the COVID checks and everything, obviously that led to additional congestion. One beef I had, and again, perhaps it was me, and I should know better and get there earlier. Got to the fan zone at 2:05. weren't letting any more in.
There was a few. I mean,
which I suppose in hindsight, I probably, you know, knowing there's going to be 21,000 there, you should get there at 1:30 probably. But
you wouldn't have got served, mate, if you'd have got in.
No, probably not either. Good point.
I got there silly early. I was there at 1:30. I reckon I got in the fan zone, and just for a chat. I didn't go for a beer, but then the queue for the beer tent was getting towards the gate to get into the fan zone. Jesus, by the time we left
as well.
So you wouldn't have got served once you're in.
That was quite nice. I took a walk around the ground, and it was quite nice to see so many people about. It was incredible. And I think I put on a WhatsApp. By the time I got back to the north stand, it was heaving there, absolutely heaving. I don't sit there, but I walked round to the west stand where I got in, and that was quite good. And just walked in and got a beer fairly quickly, you know, in the underneath the stand. So that wasn't too bad.
There's a few things on Mark Ashton's, more things maybe than earlier in the week after Saturday. From sounds of it, I had a mate who struggled to get a response from the ticket office because his season ticket didn't arrive, and I think they stopped selling tickets in the club. I don't think you could get tickets in Planet Blue pre-match yesterday. Even in the morning, they sent you to the ticket office, and the ticket office, according to my mate Mark, didn't open until 1 p.m. and presumably was dealing with people who needed printouts because season tickets hadn't arrived. So a little bit more work needed there, because it could have been a bigger gate yesterday on Saturday. Not massively, but it just feels some logistics are still a little bit in their teething stages. But
I suppose it's a perfect storm.
21,000 is a bit of a
plus COVID checking, plus everything else. I think you just need to cut everyone a little bit of slack, don't we, for at least the first half a dozen games of this season.
But nice to see everyone, and lots of fist bumps and handshakes, dare I say, and all sorts, and very good atmosphere in the Greyhound as well. Hello to everyone at the Greyhound.
As Dave said, it just didn't feel like you'd been away. You know, you could sitting in a normal seat, just looking out the pitch, watching the players come out. You think, well, it was like this 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? You know, we were all here 2 weeks ago watching exactly the same thing. It was literally just did not feel like we'd been away.
No, it's great, and pretty much everyone I used to sit near and around, still got the same seats. That was really nice.
Lovely stuff. So pre-match, 3 things to talk about. Paul Cook made his appearance out of the dugout to take his seat just prior to the players coming out. He got a great ovation. I mean, poor Paul Cook has been in the job since February, or late February, early March, and hasn't encountered any support. So I hope he enjoyed the ovation that he got, which was very generous. And another thing that was very generous, although I couldn't hear the discussion around it, guys, was the ovation for Paul Marin, obviously the first match back since his sad passing. Was anything? What was the tribute? We couldn't hear it.
Yeah, it was Foz did it because Stephen Foster's now obviously doing. Now Rob Chandler's gone. Stephen Foster's now doing the match day presenting. He gave a really nice sort of tribute. You know, just talking about when he joined the club and the great seasons, and he's putting the 2 great Robson teams, the FA Cup team and the UEFA Cup team. So no, it's a really nice, quite emotional actually. 1 or 2 people sort of welling up around me. I thought actually 1 or 2 of the older stages. So no, that's really nice and a great gesture. I thought, and an appropriate one as well.
Yeah, and at half time as well, they had a little bit from Butcher and Johnny Walk on the town, didn't they? Just giving their little speeches.
So I was sat in my seat in the North Stand at half time. I didn't hear a word of it. The tannoy in the North Stand lower is appalling. So Mark Ashton, get your spanner out.
You know that, mate. That was raised at the EGM, and Mike O'Leary said, yes, they've basically been around the whole stadium with their microphones testing the speakers, and said it's pretty got to be ripped out and started again.
Literally not a word of anything in the North lower.
So it could have been a train announcement, could it?
Even if this sound a woo 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 indicates an important announcement. We wouldn't have heard that. Nothing. I would have heard the woo bit, but probably not anything else.
Oh,
So that's a safety hazard. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Burn, baby, burn.
The other thing, the North Stand was, well, certainly where I was, and in my specific area where we were talking about it, which I don't know if it was deliberate or not. I like to think it was the players warmed up before kickoff the opposite end to normal. They warmed up as if they were shooting towards the North Stand goal in the first half, then won the toss and turned us around, which got a big kind of cheer for the North Stand. I wonder whether that was staged, guys. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought that. I thought that, actually. And my other thought was they were warming up just in front of me. Christ almighty, our conditioning coach is ripped. My
units.
He's got a chest like that wide. Holy crap.
We saw that.
And we've said that before in previous seasons, haven't we? About, we would just sort of like slovenly just sort of jog back out on the pitch, and perhaps one or two of them would do a few stretches, and we'd see the others, the other teams, the opposition, going through their little routines and stuff. So again, small thing, but you'd think that's kind of positive and how the way things are going.
Yep. Let's get into the action. I mean, plenty bits to talk about. We'll focus on the goals really, because but there's some other bits and pieces here that we need to talk about. And to me, yesterday, Lee Evans was the pick. He was captain for the day, and it was a good audition if he wanted the job full time for me. But a good free kick from him, just wide on 10 minutes. Set pieces, the delivery of the set pieces mostly was good. I think Fraser hit the first man on a corner pretty early on.
Yeah, really good one, that right in front of the Piggott. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I think Piggott got there first, but I think he did hit the first man on one.
Yeah, he did. Sorry, he did, yeah.
But he did find his feet eventually. But I think we probably need to practice being on the end and receiving those, because, I think later on, NCR is going to head a wide, Norwood and the death heads wide as well. So the quality is now there. We just need to be in the right positions and to.
There was one really good one when Piggott made the early run and he swings it in. That was a quality. That was obviously rehearsed.
That was the 18th minute one.
Yeah, that was literally right. That was literally right in front of us. But just before that, it was Chaplin and another, I can't think it was, ran towards to pretty much mimic taking a short corner to then have the space for Piggott to run into. So it's obviously that one was a.
So they are working on
a rehearsed one.
Yeah. So those couple of chances, and then Craig. We've kind of got the optimism of everyone being back to the ground, and it's back to reality. I mean, who are you pointing the finger of blame at for this goal here for Morecambe?
I'm trying to think how many fingers have I got? Well, but God Almighty, in League One, you don't concede. I know they might do it later in the game, but you don't concede goals from just a goalkeeper's punt straight down the middle of the pitch. But we seemingly did so. Enciala had his man, didn't he? He had Stockton in front of him, just inside our half, just outside the centre circle sort of thing. Just both of them sort of jostling for position and judging this goal kick coming towards them. And it drops behind Enciala, so it's bounced. And then Vincent Young has a poor header, just headers it back into the middle of the pitch, doesn't he? And then it sort of falls to Stockton's feet. And by this time, both Wolfenden and Enciala have backed off 7 or 8 yards onto the edge of the box. So now Stockton's got pretty much a free run to get a bit of momentum going towards our box. And Evans sort of tries to get back and sort of barged off, can't get goal side of him to make a tackle. And we're just screaming, just send him wide, just push him wide. Don't let him into the area. If you do, just get him towards the corner flag. But through a combination of Evans, Wolfenden, Enciala initially, then Enciala goes towards the goal. He just managed to work his way into the box and just continue going, and got a shot from quite a narrow angle. I was quite surprised it actually made its way in past a diving Wolfenden, Hladky, and then Enciala on the line as well. It was just a combination of poor missed header, poor header, backing off, not strong enough in the tackle, letting him run into the box, and then once he's in the box, then you can't go sliding in. But it's just a poor goal all round. And even I'd point my little finger at Hladky as well for
I think that's
being a very tight angle, and it's sort of managing to get past him as well. But
I think
in terms of the atmosphere, mate, just in terms of the atmosphere, it was a bit of a burst of bubble. But I thought the crowd actually did. They did stay with him, didn't they? It wasn't a boo, oh bloody hell, what's all this? People throwing their caps on the pitch, etc., or a pie later on the pitch. It actually didn't go down. You know, people were still back in the team
they were.
afterwards.
Yeah, it was.
It's only 22 minutes, isn't it? So
it just started with NCR. I thought NCR could attack the ball, and he backs off, doesn't he? I know he's got the. I refer to him. You'd call that Stockton the burly Stockton, wouldn't you? Because he was a handful, big and strong. And NCR should have attacked the ball. He didn't. As soon as the ball bounces, there's trouble. It's poor from Vincent Young. Really, you just get something on a bit, heads it inside, and then it's just like a parting of the bloody waves, isn't it? Almost, but. Yeah, it's just weak, and I think you said it straight away, Rich, on our group group chat at the game that Wolfen just goes to ground so easily. It's just he doesn't.
And Evans does as well.
In the penalty. Evans does, but Wolfen almost lays down in front of him, doesn't it? It's just a bizarre challenge, and I think Hladky gets a bit of it, doesn't he? But just not enough to. It's a good goal. It's a good goal. It's a bad goal from our concern, but great by the striker, great control to keep keep going and finiishing.
But it wasn't the first time that we'd let the ball bounce either. Our centre half would let the ball bounce.
That's a Tommy Smith, bless him. That's a Tommy Smith thing. The times, the goals I've seen us concede. Tommy Smith, attack the Derby's the classic, isn't it? Attack the ball, attack a nice bounce. Oh, Martin, goal.
Yeah, all bets are off. It's bounced. Here we go.
Yeah, no, exactly.
We haven't mentioned we've mentioned him before, but I'm going to chuck him in there as well. Even Penny's on the scene, and kind of at that point he's in the areas you said, Craig, and Penny doesn't want to touch him, but there's something he can be doing there.
He's in the area, it's always
Evans is Wolfen, but
all Enciala really has to do there, and you can't throw him under the bus because it's terrible from then on. But he just has to get something on that ball. He just has to attack the ball and get something on it. He gets something on the ball, that ball doesn't get to Stockton. But
even Vincent Young's header, heading it out for a throw in or something.
Turn away, hook it out.
Right in the middle, but well taken by Stockton, wasn't it? We'll talk about him again in a bit. We've mentioned Enciala there. I mean, it's a really weird kind of 4 minutes for him because he has that header that we talked about from the corner. He's involved in the goal, which is a minute later, and then there's this shot on 30 minutes. It could have been 2. Where Stockton kind of again is backing off, and Paul Cook talks about this in the post-match. The lack of engagement by the defence, all of the defence. I think yesterday were complicit with this. We're just we're just sitting back. Stockton had so much time to get his shot off, and Craig, that could have curled in, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, Cook said in his post-match, he said we're not aggressive enough in defence. He actually said those words, and you could see it, and we are, and that's I'd imagine why he's after, as Dave said earlier, 1 if not 2 centre half still, because we are not aggressive enough. Certainly in League One, that's what you need to do. And if Enciala's there to head the ball, to kick the ball, to kick the players, if he's not doing that, if all he's doing is floating umpteen balls down the channel onto their centre half's head, then
you look at that and thinking of our sort of work in the transfer market over the summer. Probably in hindsight, the biggest player we missed out on is the lad from Luton, in at the big lump from Luton.
Yeah, Bradley. Yeah.
And a captain as well.
Well, that's Cook's kind of left that situation vacant. I thought Evans did well yesterday. And then after that curling shot that just went wide from Stockton again, Enciala is going to pull up injured. And again, the narrative is there. The lack of transfer business and centre-backs, the lack of options there. And we are down to the bare bones of who was down Friday. Because that's his chance.
I think he
might not get another one.
It had echoes of that pre-season game, didn't it? It was in Germany. Paderborn, was it? When he twinged his hamstring a couple of pre-seasons ago, and that was it. He was out for the 6 months or so when he
44 Donasian comes on. We'll talk about Donasian. I think we've got questions about Donasian, but big opportunity for him. And he's got 60 minutes of the game to play. The rest of the half kind of punctuated by Evans just spraying balls left and right, and there's one on 38 where Penny in all kinds of space. We would definitely really didn't exploit the flanks as much as I thought we could have on Saturday. Apologies, I'm going to keep saying yesterday, Saturday. And 38 years this shot that hits the side netting. I mean, great opportunity there. And most of the ground. Did you guys think that was in?
He's got a serious range of passing there, Evans, hasn't he? My goodness me, he pings it. I mean, okay. Some would say perhaps a bit sideways at times, but my God, he's got some passing ability.
And he's everywhere as well.
My God, so is Harper, to be fair. But
I
thought Penny, and good. I thought Penny did well, got advanced really well, just as Cook wants fullbacks too. Hard to see. Haven't seen it back. Could he have done better? Could he have sort of hit it more across the keeper? Hard to say. He's been closed down, but no, good move.
Good strike. And Burns gets down the right, and there's a cross that evades everyone, and that's half time. I'm going to kind of move us on because because
I thought just quickly about Burns. I thought perhaps he was our best player first half. I thought he was really good. Really good.
I thought that.
I think
he's very quick, and he is that quick that he can get himself out of situations as well, can't he? Even in tight situations. To be fair, I thought his close control was decent at times as well.
Very good, because he was pretty. I mean, okay, perhaps Millwall were a bit sharper than Morecambe. I thought he was pretty average against. Yeah, but no, he's especially first half yesterday. He's very good.
Him and Vincent Young were getting a good understand. There was a couple of times though you could tell things were actually starting to click there. And that was sort of the thing for the whole game. There were just little periods we thought, actually things do look like they might.
Yeah, you're right.
There was some good convalency. If that, there you go. There's a word. And Town started the second half really strongly. Obviously, Cook gave them a rollicking at half time, and they came out definitely with a lot more purpose. There's another cross that evades everyone from Penny. Vincent Young has a shot that's blocked, and then 61, Dave. The ball is going to land with Lee Evans in midfield, and suddenly.
This is just lovely. This is, I think, what Craig was referring to. Signs, and you can see. My goodness me, can't remember the last time we scored a sort of a well-constructed goal as this one. You're right. Evans lands on the ball probably in the fairly central in their half, sort of short past the Harper. And what I like about Harper, he doesn't just roll the ball and he pings the ball in, does he? Perhaps not. We didn't see the range of passing that Evans had yesterday, but when he delivers it, he delivers it. I think initially into Fraser, who up to that point was okay-ish. Some of his set plays hadn't been brilliant, but fairly anonymous. And so had Chaplin been. I felt for Chaplin yesterday.
Wow.
He said he was proper anonymous, but
Billy had a touch, didn't he? First half.
Yeah, but this was just brilliant. This was just superb. So Fraser gets a ball, gets a ball under. Lovely little, almost a disguised ball, left foot, clever run from Chaplin. But what I like about Fraser doesn't, and this is what we haven't had from our midfielders, doesn't stand still, almost follows his pass into the space. Superb reverse ball, wasn't it? I mean, if that's the only thing he did all game, Chaplin, what a lovely bit of skill that was. Just a lovely sort of weighted 5-yard reverse ball, takes it in his stride, just perfect. Well, I was right behind, so was Craig. I was right behind that. It was absolutely perfect finish.
Right in the side net.
Swept in the right in the netting on the right corner. Yeah, really good goal. And if that's the shape of things to come, you think, wow, here we go.
Yeah.
But
it's really tiny goal that. Yeah. Unfortunately,
sorry, Rich. Just going back to what Dave was saying there about Harper and his passing, and it's what my mate Glenn pointed out. Is he very rarely does he pass the ball in the air either?
Nah.
Evans was obviously pinging ball, floating a lot of balls, but one or two he did actually ping wide.
Yeah.
But Harper actually just he gives it with purpose. It's all along the floor.
Exactly, I think right.
He's a hell of a player. I really do.
I think he could be the pick of the lot. I mean, it's so early doors, but honestly, so we spoke about sometimes Dizelle, and we spoke about Dizelle and all the talent he's got, and sometimes some of the balls are a bit, a bit meh balls, sort of a bit lazy, a bit. But every single pass I thought from Harper exactly was right on the money and with purpose, as you said.
Yep. That positivity at that point, this is Town's game to win, guys. And then Dave, I'll come back to you on this one. You've alluded to this already. Your little finger is pointing at Matt Penny to start this off.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, he gives almost a no-look ball. They've played. Then they played comfortably out pretty much from the back most of the game after. Can I caveat this after Enciala went off? No offense. But he I hate that little ball he tried. Every time Enciala tries to drop that little ball into the striker. When he gets a ball, just hit it forward. Just hit it beyond them. But anyway, where was it? Yeah, it's a sort of bit of a nothing ball back to Wolford and not enough pace on it. Clearly, Stockton was pretty alert. And look, Wolford can clear that ball into the stand, but he tries to be clever, doesn't he? And he can play. You can do that. We've seen him do that. Tries to obviously nick it past Stockton, who gets a touch and then he's done. Again, good composure from Stockton. I've got to say.
Dare I say Marcus Stewart-esque?
Well, no, you're very, very good. Yeah, sort of Liverpool type of type goal sort of thing where he's very patient. You think, he's going to slip it in. He's sort of near post because he sort of almost shows him that way. No, gets it inside. Danassian almost, at first I thought it was an own goal actually, because the way Danassian slides in towards the goal, I thought he's put it in, but as a clever finish, he sort of moves it. He doesn't really beat Ladkin, he just moves it one way and just rolls it in with the outside of his right foot. But as the manager quite rightly said after the game, two shockers to concede, and that really was a shocker because scored the goal 10 minutes before, and we were I can't remember many close, but we were sort of dominating possession at that point and very much in the ascendancy with the crowd behind us. So that was a bit of a balloon prick, that one.
Let me put this for the apologies for those listening, but this is the attacking momentum chart from SofaScore, and you can just see the green bars here at Ipswich. The second half there is nothing, and then I assume this solitary blue block here for Morecambe is the goal, isn't it? And then but to be fair, and even the possession stats here, I'm going to kind of just stick those up early. 67% possession overall. This is not the tool that we have with Blackburn under Hurst, where you're struggling to there is dominance here that is just punctuated by two really big mistakes. Could have been three with the Stockton chance in the first half, the curling shot. But it did feel like we were winding down, and 70 minutes. We've now got the situation where we've only got three substitutes to choose from, and Cook is obviously going to delay making those as long as he can, particularly when you've considered the NCR change that he was forced to in the first half. But Bon and Norwood are brought on. We talked about Chaplin, a good contribution, but otherwise didn't really feature too much. We haven't talked about Piggott. I like the look of Piggott. He was subbed at the same time for Norwood. I quite like Piggott. He got through a lot of work, didn't he?
One great bit of play second half when he sort of finds him. He's quite strong. He sort of backs into the defender, gets away from I think two defenders, and has that shot which the keeper saved right in front of you, which the keeper saves to his left. He'll be fine. I think he'll be all right. Yeah,
he just needs the understanding. They need to work out, don't they? Who's going to be playing the number 10 and get them to get some sort of understanding with Piggott. That was probably the one area of the pitch where you didn't really see a spark of something that might be happening in the future. That Chaplin-Piggott combination. Piggott was a bit isolated first half, and Chaplin barely had a touch, did he?
No. Don't be surprised if it's Louis Barry next week, maybe. He's good, and Cook alluded to this in the post-match as well. He's going to be experimenting. He kind of suggested he didn't know the best team yet, but at least he's got options, and the bench proves it. There's not going to be many teams, if any, in League One who could afford to bring on a Championship loanee and one of the top scorers in all of the pyramid in the last, certainly prior to coming to us, at least in James Forward.
That top scorer in the pyramid doing his best to get himself sent off, I thought.
Well, he came on and certainly got in amongst it. And
to be fair, to be fair to him, you're probably right. We said it was going very flat. After it was almost starting to peter out, wasn't it? Here we go. Typical Ipswich, set ourselves up again, big crowd. Going to lose, sort of thing, and perhaps that did get the crowd going again.
And it certainly, the referee, and Cook mentioned this as well. I don't know whether he strayed across the line, but I'd forgotten how crap League One referees are, and he was not in control of the game pretty much from the middle of the first half, where there were yellow cards which needed to be given, time wasting, which he was strong on the time wasting in the first half, not in the second. But both kind of Norwood, who gets a booking for one for a bit of a lunge, even Bon, has got in behind a defender right in front of the North stand and the West stand, and nicks in. The guy falls over, immediately gets the foul, even though there's hardly any contact. The referee kind of Morecambe played him really well, didn't they? But really ruined the spectacle towards the end, didn't they?
It also seemed to be that every time we didn't get a foul, within 10 seconds, an identical situation was happening further up the pitch, whereby he'd give the foul to Morecambe. Pretty much every single time. That's just exacerbating the problem with the crowd and things like that. And I was a little bit, look, we've got players who've played in this league, so they know what the refereeing's like. If we're going to start getting bookings for moaning at the referee, then it's only going to catch up with us, isn't it? We know what they're like. What can you do? Don't get frustrated by it. Let the crowd get frustrated by it. Don't pick up stupid bookings. We don't want a Andre Dazelle situation or whoever just by virtue of moaning rather than tackling. That's probably not the right option to choose there. But you don't want players getting booked for moaning rather than tackling, if you know what I mean. Dissent.
Yes.
And worthless booking.
Yeah, exactly right. And Evans' frustration got the better of him. I think he was trying to speak to the referee for most of the game and eventually just got on the wrong end of one of those decisions, Craig. But the out of nothing really, Flacky with the ball, kind of partway through the town half, Craig, and suddenly in injury time we have it's certainly a different situation to the first goal, isn't it?
Yeah, but as you said about the subs and the subs bench, this is what we need the subs, but this is what we probably will need the subs bench for. And that's what Cook spoke about in the week leading up to it, is that we will need 2 strikers on the bench. Well, we will need 2 strikers on the pitch at some point in time just to, by virtue of needing to get a goal. I think it might have been Cook that said it as well, is that sometimes you need a big guy flicking it onto a little guy in the box to score a goal. Well, that's all you need to do. And I appreciate Norwood's not particularly big, but the ball was pretty much straight down the pitch. And what Norwood did very well is he ran, didn't he? He was on the centre arse and he ran forward, timed his run perfectly to meet it. Brilliant. Yeah, flicked it. Bon was on the wrong side he was on the offside of his central defender, but obviously he's been played onside by the right back, I think. And as he said in his post-match interview, he just turned the geezer and
just boy
slid it in. Yeah, it was pretty simple. Basically, if you're, let's flip reverse it. If you're the defensive team, you think, Christ Almighty, if we're going to start conceding goals like that in League One, then we've got no chance. But as it's us that scored it, it's a beautifully crafted flick on and finish, from the 1980s probably. But it was a beautifully timed run for the header, and it was a beautifully timed run in behind the defender for the finish as well.
And lovely moment for
100%.
Oh, man, brilliant.
On the club website and on the YouTube is if you can understand it, then you're an Ipswich fan. Put it that way. I mean, he speaks really quick with it. Ipswich. I love it. It was so great. I did turn the geezer. Yeah, brilliant stuff. That is your lot, guys, on that. I mean, plenty to talk about and plenty on questions. 21,000 attendance, which we need to talk about as well. But I'm going to skip us on because lots more to talk about in the questions. Here we go. Where to start? Let's do them in some kind of order, shall we? Ollie Fairs he's gone with 3 questions here, so we'll accommodate them. Does Luke Wolfenden deserve the amount of criticism he got after the game? I mean, we've got more questions on. Do you want to quickly do a yes or a no on that one? He's going to get criticism, any, let's be honest. But what do you think
I just think he just gets, for a second, he doesn't win enough headers, and he gets out-muscled too much, held off the ball by the central forwards too easily as well for a League One defender. I appreciate what he brings to it, but I just can't believe we're not after 2 centre halves.
Yeah, it's surprising because he looks like he's bulked up. I thought last week when I first saw him, he looked like he's bulked up a bit, but it was you can put. Well, certainly the first one was a combination of everybody, really. The second one, he wasn't helped out by Penny, but he should have put it into Rose's edge, shouldn't he?
Are referees in League One actually this bad, or is that just bias?
No.
Nope.
No, they are.
They are terrible.
And this is a good one. Which new signing stands out the most so far?
I like Harper, to be fair. I mean, Evans is, but I must admit I quite like Harper.
Yeah. I said Harper at Dartford, everyone. Remember that?
Yeah, you did.
We'll clip it. Yeah. I really liked Evans. I really did. And not fit, but I like the look of Fraser at times.
But the thing is that with Harper and Evans, that's all we've got in central midfield. It's those 2, isn't it? What happens if one or the other is, God forbid, injured? We're down to bare bones again. Yeah,
and Beggett as well. I mentioned him too, just to add that in there too. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, more business needed. FPL Tractor queries Tuesday's game about rotating. I think Cook has said minutes for players. I think he even mentioned Aluko. So don't expect to see too many of the same players on Tuesday.
Certainly goalkeeper. You'd think.
Who's going to central midfield? Who's playing central midfield?
Darby might get a go, perhaps. Wow. Scoey 75. I'm worried Fraser's being played out wide when he was meant to be one of the best attacking midfielders in League One. Do you think this is temporary because Cook plays a narrow midfield? Where would he play full time? Anyone want to take that one?
I think as Craig said, it's just pretty experimenting at this time. It's just finding the best 11, isn't it? At this moment in time in these positions, I was a bit surprised where obviously he was one of the top midfielders. In coming playing sort of the more central advanced role. So yeah, a bit surprised yesterday, but it's so early days, isn't it? Really?
What was noticeable, and it was mentioned on the phone in after the match, is the players just looked better quality, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
To my eyes, if you got Chaplin in there, Fraser, everything, and Harper we all spoke about, and Evans, they're all just proper footballers, and they can ping it and they can receive it, and what Evans' touch, I noticed in the first 10 minutes or so, his first touch just takes him where he wants it to go. You know, he's already thinking that stage ahead. And same as Harper. Harper's little touches and his strength, I thought they just look another step above what they're all an upgrade.
I think you're right. Just the general movement and everything just looks much sharper. And look, there's a lot more to come. It's so early. There's a lot more to come from.
On the movement bit, I was going to say this as well. It's particularly Evans. You know, we often talk about 50-50s, and I think, Dave, we've been speaking about this on the pod for years. The amount of 50-50s and second balls we used to win were so low. Evans just knows where to be. I mean, he's putting in the effort to be there, but you don't win those 50-50s just by luck. I mean, sometimes you lucky ricochet or what have you. You win them by being aggressive, but being in the right place at the right time.
And it's being aggressive and the sharp brain isn't the sharp football brain. The awareness to you're right to be there on the spot. Yeah, no, those two for us again. Pray fit suspensions, whatever. You know, I think if those two stay fit and play the majority of games together in centre mid, we'll be fine.
And Pete Girls, Craig, Pete, asked a similar question about Fraser. It sounds like we expect some experimentation, so he might head back to that attacking mid position. He also asked, do you think Janoy Dynastin cemented his place in the squad after that sort of performance? One thing I'll chip in there as well is he was one of the only, along with Evans, players pointing and giving instructions and telling people where to be, demonstrating some on-pitch leadership. I really thought he had a good afternoon, Janoy Dynastin. Do you think he's going to get a go?
Well, he's got no choice but to give him a go.
Yeah.
But he was captain at in the Cole U friendly as well, I think, actually, and he was vocal in that as well, and got involved when Dobber and Chambers had a little bit of a pushing match sort of thing. He got himself involved in that as well. I don't know really. I don't know if he's really big enough, is he, to be a centre half, and he's not really attacking enough to be our right back. But I think he's fine for what he was yesterday, in that, you know, if you need him to come on and do a job in one of those positions, he'll do it for an hour or so. I wouldn't want to be hanging my hat on him for a 46 match League One campaign, and I can't imagine we will. But by virtue of how I'd imagine he's not particularly expensive in the whole scheme of things, you know, he's a low risk, quiet guy to have on the bench. I would have thought.
Yeah, fine. And he can cover all those positions. And so, just to continue, Craig, then Paul Westlake's question: does the NCR injury and Wolfie errors in brackets force Cook's hand a little in terms of Edmondson signing? Needs to get in 2 more signings at centre back. Do you think?
Well, it's at least one. It's definitely at least one. As Dave said at the beginning, Sonny Bradley not joining us, knowing he's a hard-nosed centre half and a captain, that space or those 2 characteristics are still missing, aren't they, from our centre halves?
Yeah.
Go on, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, about Dynasty, and I totally agree what Craig said. I don't think he's going to let you down, but no, you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't think he's going to be a regular right-sided centre back for us. But he can do a job there, and he can also do a job at right back. But good, great. Pleased he's still with us. Actually, pleased, we've held on to him.
Yep. Andrew B, Cornish Mariner. At the start of the last 2 seasons, it felt like the wins were papering over the cracks, which better teams would exploit. Are you with me in feeling this is the opposite? A draw which points towards a team that will score against anyone, Dave?
Almost Joe Royal-like, isn't it? Oh my God, we'd love that. We'd love that, but with a better result and promotion at the end of the day. I mean, I think for the time being, because it's just so top heavy with forward players and forward thinking players and strikers, isn't it? But the key is to get these defensive players in, because again, as someone said, sorry, might have been you, Craig, might have been Joe, can't think who said it. Defenses win championships, and we'd all love to see us score 110 goals and concede and concede 80 or something, but that's not going to get you up.
Yeah. A slightly different question from Will Airy. It's great to hear a bit of you don't know what you're doing and dodgy keeper. Well, what was your favourite thing to hear from the stands yesterday? Craig, I'll start with you.
I just like the I don't know if it happened yesterday, I can't really remember, but just the instant reaction to a shit shot from the opposition, just like the old piss-taking sarcastic cheer, just like. And
there was
and
a really rubbish free kick, wasn't there, where they went to the edge of the box and the guy miscued.
Yeah, and there was also one which actually led to the Wolfenden mistake to their goal, was where they had a free kick and hit it quickly to the side. And the guy was offside. Literally,
Yes.
the pass from the free kick. Hooray! And also that little delay between someone handballing it and the entire crowd shouting handball in unison. That's always pretty impressive as well.
Yeah.
Dave?
No, I think I'm with you on those two. Yeah, the sort of general derision or whatever piss take when someone has a terrible shot, or as you said yesterday, the sort of like the free kick routine that went horribly wrong. Yeah, that's always good value, I think.
There's a really great video that I think I've retweeted. Someone filmed Macaulay Bonne running through to score. The noise that I like is two bits. It's the quiet before it's the go on, quiet, cheer. Yeah. Like the Jackson got against AFC Wimbledon. That was it was a good video if you want to hear that.
And he mentioned that in his interview, didn't he, as well, afterwards? He said that he sort of, I know he says that everything went into slow motion, blah, 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 but he said himself he heard it sort of everything go quiet and sort of almost wait for him to score.
Good finish though. Again, you expect a striker like that to finish from there, but kept cool, didn't he? It's a calm finish. Huge moment for him, and kept really ice cool, calm, didn't he? Brilliant.
He did. And what I liked was Lee Evans was like, "Stop celebrating, we can win this. Come on, back we go, back we go."
I was like Russell Osman in Escape to Victory.
Russell Osman, mate, that
is. Adam Vajani, just down the road from me. I like to Adam. This is, I guess, the question that we need to answer. Do I have to bite the bullet and finally admit that Wolfenden isn't as good as I hoped he would be, or was that mistake a one-off? He wants to take that one.
I'd like to side with Adam and think Wolfenden, just because he's one of ours, really, but will come good. But yeah, that wasn't a great start for him, was it? It wasn't a great start.
What we talked about so far, in terms of, I just wonder whether he's a half a yard off the fitness of everyone else. Not being wishing to be too critical.
Because he's coming from the old regime, you mean? Because he's come from the old
just in general. I mean, I think it's well known that he's not the best of trainers.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
But he's clearly got ability and he's a ball playing centre back, which you don't get growing on trees. But I just wonder whether he's a bit passive. And yesterday, getting stuck in.
Joe made a good point yesterday where he said, he thinks either of the centre halves will be fine with a dominant centre half, talking, organising centre half,
aren't you? To lift,
But is a talking centre half going to start persuading you to win headers and not being outmuscled by centre halves and not being the wrong side of the attacker?
But again, is he playing on his natural side? He was playing left side, wasn't it? Which is a bit odd for me because he's clearly a right-footed player, and if he's the player that's going to play, surely then if he's playing the two, you can play Donasian. Play left side because Donasian's there really just to get his head on the ball, and you don't want Donasian, as I said a little while earlier. You don't want Donasian. Donasian. You don't want Enciala taking it out and playing from the back. You want Wolfenden, who can play. He can play that way.
Or is it? I don't really want Enciala playing left because he could be even more of a liability playing on the left than he.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Possibly. Edmondson plays left-sided, doesn't he?
Yeah, so look, that could solve it. But what is the situation? Is he just not generally fit? Or what is Edmondson's position here?
I'm not sure.
That's
he's not trained yet, has he?
He hasn't trained at all yet.
I don't know. I think I don't think maybe he started, but
okay.
I don't know.
So he's about 2 or 3 weeks behind. You think that's okay?
Yeah. One of the pods, forgive me, I can't remember if it was the D3, D4 pod or the not the top 20 pod. You guys may have listened to it. We're talking about Edmondson and the transfer and saying that out of all of our transfer dealings, that's potentially the best of the lot.
Really?
It might be now in context, now that we know that we've got those four positions in, we need to shore up the defence, isn't it?
Yeah. But even beforehand, they were saying he's gone from Europa League getting man of the match against Braga, or whoever it was last year, to playing League One. So.
Yeah, you think. I mean, there was some experienced players out there. My lad was throwing a name around yesterday, like Mariappa, 34, on a free, released from Bristol City, I think. Released from Bristol City. In fact, I made a note of that. That was when I spoke about, my note, when I spoke about Aluko making those appearances for Reading, I actually looked at, after my lad mentioned that, I looked at Mariappa, and he actually made 20, it was him I was thinking about, he made 20 odd appearances for Bristol City last season. Obviously released now, but he's 34. I mean, if you want experience, and he's very, very experienced, at certainly at championship level and above, probably someone like that's worth a punt.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a experienced freebie
of that ilk.
Yeah. We shall see. Mrs. Nuts, talk me through the back pass rules, please. Asking for a goalkeeper. Lots of back passes off the thigh, which I think presumably
loads.
Most, yeah. Who's just gets Statman on it? Most thighed back passes in a match, yeah. As soon as one got done, there was like I thought everyone was going to try and do it.
And then I think even
it's only if it's off the foot.
I think even Wolfenden or Donessian did one right at the end. I thought, oh, it's catching on.
Yeah.
That's the new trend. Tim Pashley, were Morecambe shrimps nearly too wise for the cook of Ipswich? We need to mention Morecambe. They were well drilled, weren't they? We knew what they were going to do. We talked about on Friday. They'll beat some.
And they've had as many changes as we have. You know, they've had a fair few new players in as well, haven't they? To be fair to them,
they look. I thought really well organised until the second equaliser. Very well drilled defensively as well. You know, you never really. First half, a couple of times Burns got behind them, but yeah, I thought they were really well drilled. And on the face of it, early days, but I think they'll be all right. But again, a team like that, you've got to look at their squad depth, haven't you? I suppose.
They made a lot of signings though.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, you know, you look at Stockton, who led the line and was really the only threat really they had. True. I mean, you know, something happens to him, suspension, injury, then you think could struggle for goals. But yeah, well organised, decent.
Lost their top scorer as well. So we wish them well. Good luck to Morecambe. Final question from Mike at Turbo the Sailor. We have to say thank you for Mike, who's lent us some of his excellent photos. So at Turbo the Sailor, he'll be taking photos home and away this season. Definitely worth a follow. I skipped going down to the concourse at halftime and opted instead to rest my poor tired legs. Did any of you guys go? And if you did, can you give us a rating on your halftime, fight in the queue, bang for a pie, or contactless experience? Did we all stay in our seats?
Yes.
Or did anyone? Dave?
I must admit, half time I wandered out of the back, read the programme out on the practice. You know.
So we had I think we had a leisurely half time as well. I think we've all realised that it's not the time.
I don't bother at half time.
If you want to go and get a pint, you probably need to go at 40 minutes, don't you?
I'd hate that. No, I'd never.
I think the bars near us allow you a bit like the theatre to
pre-order.
Yeah, your half time.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
Do you see in your seat? Do you have those glasses on your seat?
You get a little. Is there a bell ring?
Opera glasses. Yeah.
Bell rings just before the half time. The players are coming back out.
Yeah. And the stewards come out with like these trays strapped around their necks with like Haagen-Dazs for about £12.50 for a tiny little tub as well, with a wooden spoon.
If you go out for the toilet and you come back during an attacking moment, they have to hold you until it get out of play, and then you can go back to
then when I do come back to my seat, it's like a little torch leads me all the way to the
love that different experience to the North Stand, which I think it's where Mike is as well. And there you go, that's the questions. Thank you so much. We've I didn't go through all of those, plenty of good ones, lots of stuff that we repeated, so apologies for that, but always helpful in shaping the debate. Dave, Craig, thank you again for your insights. Really great chat and enjoyed that. A few bits and pieces to plug. Firstly, I'm sure you'll all join me in wishing congratulations to Andy McMahon, who has won our giveaway of the Portman Road print, which you can see the bottom half of there. Congratulations to Andy, and I'm sure we'll do more of that. And hopefully we'll have some other news on Matt Wood's online store. You may be able to pick up a print. Keep a look on our Twitter. I'm hoping we've got maybe a discount we can throw your way as well. But yeah, congrats to Andy. A few bits and pieces this week. Maybe a live show, hopefully a live show. You'll have noticed that I've been an ever-present though so far in the last few weeks on hosting. Mikey's otherwise available, and Ben's obviously championship season started, but Ben and Shaylee are kind of, the bag is at the door. This is this could be happening while we're recording, frankly.
Nothing had happened an hour ago. So, I know that.
Fingers crossed, and all the very best of Ben and Shaylee. So there'll be a bit more of me. So if I can bring myself to do a live show, unless Mikey or even Craig, maybe Dave, will get Dave to host, we might do a reaction to Newport. And then Seb and I will be back for the pre-match show for Burton. We will try. It looks like we'll be able to do that live. So we will be more hot on the press when it comes to the news on Friday. You can still vote for your Room 101 pick. I'll get a quick vote from Dave and Craig. Don't let it skew you too much. You're both looking like you've not listened to the show. You don't listen to the pre-match.
I saw the vote, man. I didn't vote.
So it's silly squad numbers from Seb, or it's the 3 p.m. streaming blackout on Saturday afternoons from me. Which one are you going for?
I don't care about squad numbers. So
neither do I.
No. Good. That's the right pick. Excellent stuff. You guys have made the right choice.
Sorry, Seb. Sorry,
no, that's right. He doesn't listen either. No, I'm joking. You can find us at the bits below. You can find me at Ipswich. Craig, where can we find you on the Twitter?
Fims75, mate.
Dave, where can we find
Dave
you?
Diamond 3.
There we go. And if you want to donate, you can also support us via PayPal. There's the link, which I'll probably do a retweet of. I haven't tweeted that for a while. You can also support us via Acast and join us for a YouTube live chat and do a super chat. And that is your lot. Do we want to? Has anyone got any final words lined up? We won't do the usual one with you, Dave, because I think yesterday was certainly a good start.
Not at all.
So, Craig, why don't I put you on the spot? You can have the final word.
Okay, mate. Well, let's look forward to some more frequent flashes.